Okay, so let's get into the meat of what we're talking about today. Education-based marketing. First of all, this is not the game most of us are playing, nor should we. What follows here. Okay, you see an advertisement for Coke? Okay, let's say that you see this ad for Coke. I don't even know if it's an ad, but it's a picture, but I'm sure they run ads like this in magazines. Let's say Coca-Cola takes out an ad for $17,000 to run a one-page ad in a magazine. Okay, cool. Now what? How do they measure, if you go to the store and buy a Coke, how do they measure the response of that ad to the fact that you bought the Coke? They don't, right? These guys, these companies are playing a game called brand awareness. They have marketing budgets, advertising budgets, where they'll spend, I don't know, $10 million a year to throw ads to say, hey, this is Bombay Sapphire. Buy our whatever gin, I guess it is. Buy our gin. But again, they can't track if you're actually buying their gin, right? I'm not too sure what kind of metrics they're using, but it's all about get it out there, get people to think about Bombay, 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 and it gets into your subconscious, and that's, they think why we buy. Unfortunately, it's true to some degree. Interesting statistic or a fact, have you guys ever been to Brazil? Sao Paulo, specifically? Awesome. This is amazing. So you know how you go outside now and you see all these, we're like bombarded by ads, right? Billboards, TV ads, everything. 2007, Sao Paulo banned all outdoor advertising, the entire city. This is 19 million people in the city, and they banned all outdoor advertising. 90% of the population was ecstatic after it happened. They started interviewing people in the city, and they said, you know what, I feel a lot less stressed out. I feel more at peace. I feel like I can let my guard down because I'm not being bombarded by millions of messages every second. Incredible. They even interviewed store owners, because store owners couldn't even advertise anymore outdoors. So they said, okay, well, how's this affecting you? What are you doing if you can't advertise? Like, oh my God, like there's no other alternative. The store owner said, you know what, it's interesting because we actually have to make better products now so people will tell other people about us. I'm like, wow, they're getting the message. So obviously Mercedes-Benz, who knows how much they pay for this ad, $10,000, $20,000. Am I gonna go out and buy a Mercedes because of this? Probably not. First of all, it's in German. I don't speak German. I know one sentence in German, and it's Schwimmweste unter Ihrem Sitz. And that means life vest under the seat. Because he was on an airplane, and I just kept repeating it for 5 hours. But again, they're obviously selling an image. They're trying to create things that you think about. So you kind of see yourself with a car, but again, they can't measure the response. If you go to a Mercedes dealership, unless you tell the person, you know what, I saw this ad, I want to buy the car, and then they like sent an email to head office saying, hey, you know what, this person who read this magazine saw this ad, which you paid this amount of money for, and now they bought the car. I'm not too sure how they're tracking this stuff. And that's the game we are not playing, okay? If you're doing this kind of stuff, please stop. And I've seen small mom and pop businesses do this kind of ridiculous advertising where they're spending hundreds, thousands of dollars on stupid ads in magazines that are not producing results for them. So that's not the business we are in. We are in the direct response business, which means you need to be able to measure what it is you're marketing. So let's say you put out an ad, you need to be able to measure the response. And I think Bedros showed some really good examples of ads that some of the Fit Body Bootcamp owners were running in various magazines, and it was great. There was a call to action, phone number, scarcity. You could tell that you saw the ad, you went to the location, or you called this number, and it was a direct response, right? So you're asking for immediate action as a result of what you're showing them. That's the business we are in. This is an example of an ad that I'll be testing this month in a magazine. I don't know, I'm not too sure about it, but it's interesting. It kind of gets your attention, it's shocking. We're gonna try this online as well. And it's just very simple, right? It's a free report, it's called the Big Fat Food Lies. It's a report that we have, and it's very simple. They go to this website, bigfatfoodlies.com. It says, download your free copy today before it's too late. Go to this website, bigfatfoodlies.com. This website has been forwarded through a tracking URL, so we know that if people go to this website, it's because they obviously were in a specific magazine or on a specific site, which has been related back to that affiliate link or that tracking link, so we know exactly where these people came from. We know that they opted into a specific autoresponder, and if they buy, we know that they came from a specific place. That is direct response, okay? As opposed to if I just put this up with no website. Okay, well, that's great. What's that gonna do? Here's another example of a different ad that we're running for the same report. Free consumer awareness guide exposes 7 nutrition lies that are keeping you sick, fat, and frustrated. Inside this chilling new report, you'll discover whether eating fat actually makes you fat on page 5, how much protein you really need, even if you're vegan or want to build muscle on page 11, whether organic foods are really better, if all omega-3 fats are created equal, and what they're really doing inside your body, the real causes of heart disease, it's not what you think, and more. This information is so important that we're refusing to charge for it. That's why it's absolutely free. Go to the website. Okay, so those are examples. I'm not saying that you have to do this stuff, but I'm just examples, the difference between a Mercedes-Benz ad and what we're doing, which is direct response, right? We're not spending tens of thousands of dollars to run ads, without any kind of measurable outcome. Does that make sense, everyone? We're good? Okay, so the underlying premise with this kind of stuff is that, first of all, okay, I'm going to tell you guys straight up that I've got something to sell you. How many of you guys are going to buy it right now? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but just to raise your hands, how many of you guys are going to buy what I have to sell you? Okay, maybe 1, 2. Dan, thanks, buddy. All right. Okay, so there's a couple reasons why you're probably not going to buy what I have to sell you. First of all, I'm actually not going to sell you anything, but there's a couple reasons. If I did have something to sell you, if you don't know me, you're probably not going to buy from me because I haven't been running Mercedes-Benz ads in magazines and billboards, so you have no idea who I am. You don't like me, or you don't trust me, right? Is that pretty straightforward? However, by the end of this presentation, if I were to pitch you something really awesome, the likelihood of that happening might be a little bit greater because I've spent the time, I've built a bit of a relationship with you, you might trust me a little bit more, you might like me, you might not, that's fine. Maybe you don't like guys with shaved heads, so that's 3 presenters down right there. But this is the underlying premise, is that in order for people to do business with you, whether it's clients or if you're selling an ebook or some program online, people need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. It really boils down to that. You are not entitled to anything. I think one of the biggest fallacies in North America is that we've brought up a population of people who think they're entitled to everything. I remember, did you guys know Anthony Bourdain? He's on the Food Channel, I think. He's got a couple shows. He was on Bill Maher's Real Time a little while ago. And one of the things he said is, like, in his 20-plus years of working in restaurants, he's never hired a white American to work in the kitchen. Not that he didn't want to, but they refused to work in the kitchen because they were too good to do that. And I think this is a big problem nowadays, is that a lot of people in this, in this developed and incredible world we live in believe that things need to be handed to them. Oh, somebody else is going to take care of me, or, I'm going to rely on X, Y, Z. You're not entitled to anything. You have to work for it, right? You deserve it, but you have to work for it, okay? So ask yourself, does this prospect know me? If somebody comes walking into your gym or your boot camp, or they come to your website, do they know you? If not, it's going to take a bit of time to get to know them and vice versa. Do they like you or trust you? Again, if they don't know you, probably not. Why do I deserve his or her business? I remember my dad he was in retail as an entrepreneur for several years, way back in the day, and I remember people coming into his store, and if they didn't buy something, he would talk negatively behind their back. And I'm like, what's that all about? He almost felt that he deserved for them to buy stuff from him, and if they didn't, that they weren't good enough, right? That's not the mentality we need to have. You need to understand what it is that you provide the individual, why you deserve their business, okay? Because we're here to help people. We need to earn their trust and their business. Again, what have I done to earn his or her business? They come across your website. What value have you provided to them, okay? They come to your business. They come to your establishment. What have you done to earn his or her business? And do you really understand and can you solve your prospect's deepest fears, frustrations, and desires? Do you know what keeps them up at night? Do you know what they are striving to achieve? You need to know these things because, as Jay said yesterday, if you can talk in their language, you will resonate with them. It's like a pitchfork. It's kind of like tuning a pitchfork. If you have a pitchfork and they have a pitchfork and you're on the same frequency, same vibration, things are going to go a lot better than if you're talking in a different language. If I'm talking German and you're talking English, we're going to have a tough time communicating. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, so marketing is like dating. Do you guys know who this is? Oh, yeah. Sorry, ladies, I don't have any cool guys up here, but you get the point. Okay, so marketing, the way I see it, is marketing is everything you do before you make a sale. So marketing is everything you do before the individual comes into your bootcamp or your studio and you're actually sitting down with them trying to close them, okay? And the better marketer you are, the less selling you're gonna have to do. If you market well, the individual is gonna come to you and say, you know what, I don't need to hear this pitch, let's just get started, okay? When I heard Bedro speak, I didn't really need to ask him 1,000 questions. I understood what he was talking about. I applied a lot of the stuff he was talking about in a very short period of time, and I made my investment back and more in I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks. Marketing is like dating. You can't expect to meet Adriana and guys maybe hook up with her on their first night. That's probably pretty unrealistic. Okay. Same thing. You have somebody come into your business, you have somebody come into your website, they don't know you, you don't know them. Why are they going to buy something from you? Right? It takes a bit of time. So it's the law. The law of nature states you must work for your food, otherwise you starve. Pretty simple, right? If you're an animal, if you're a lion, you don't eat a gazelle, you're dead. Law of marketing, what you earn is directly related to the value that you provide. So you need to provide value to other people before they will do business with you. You need to give before you receive. You need to show Adriana that you're worthy of her accepting your date proposal. Education-based marketing builds trust, builds goodwill, builds reciprocity. So let me define education-based marketing. Education-based marketing is marketing with the intention of educating or informing your prospects so you can build these things. Let's say you have, okay, I'll just give you the example of my Big Fat Food Lies report. The Big Fat Food Lies exposes 7 nutrition myths that are keeping people sick, fat, and frustrated. So I don't know these individuals that are coming to the website. They don't know me necessarily. They get this free report. They start to go through the information. They realize that, hey, you know what? This stuff is really making sense. I've provided value for them. Now their guards come down a little bit more. I've built a little bit of trust. I built some goodwill by giving them this free report, which is incredible. And it builds reciprocity because I've given them something, and subconsciously now they're a little bit more open to maybe giving something back. It also positions you as the expert. If you put together a video series, a free report, a consumer awareness guide, a YouTube video, it positions you as the expert. Even if you're not, who cares, right? You say you're the expert, people will believe you. It gives you more time to position your product or service. How many of you guys have an information product online? Raise your hands. Okay. Somebody in Australia who you've never met, who's never met you, they come to your website. Let's take Mike's workout finishers as an example. They don't know workout finishers, they don't know Mike for whatever reason. It's the likelihood of them buying right off the bat, unless you've got incredible sales copy, could be a little bit less, unless they came into perhaps a squeeze page where you could educate them about actually just like doing the talk that you just did. If you gave that presentation to a prospect about what workout finishers are, the science behind it, how it helps you burn more fat, would you, as a prospect, as a potential customer, be a little bit more inclined to maybe want to try his product? Does that make sense? Right? That's what we're talking about, is we're educating people about the need for your solution so that when you provide the solution, it's a lot easier for them to make a decision. It also allows you to sell higher ticket items and services. How many of you, mastermind guys and girls, how many of you joined Bedros' mastermind from the website? Right off the bat, right from the website, never hearing Bedros speak or anything before? One? Okay, that's pretty awesome. Okay, took a bit of time. You may have come to FBS. You may have seen some of his videos. You may have gone to his blog, right? It built a little bit of time, built a little bit of trust. You were able to see what he was providing, the kind of information, the education, the support. It's easier to sell a higher ticket item once you've established this foundation. You've informed your prospects, you build trust with them, they know you, they like you, they trust you. Now it's easier to sell something that is a little bit more expensive. And it goes for lower price stuff as well. But you have the ability, using this kind of strategy, to sell higher price stuff a lot more easily. And again, because we're not in this brand awareness business of let's throw a $10,000 ad with a car on it. And it will increase conversions. We, obviously Joel talked about his launches yesterday, and we recently ran a launch. Or actually, I'll tell you about a launch we ran last year for our amazing Ad Solution program. Right now, we have a video sales letter that converts at 1.5% on cold traffic, which is, it's okay. When we ran the launch, it was a 4-day launch. We basically had 4 videos, and then the last video is, hey, this is the program, buy it. We had conversions of 6%. 6% versus 1.5%. What was the difference? The exact same content. The difference is that we spent the time to educate the consumers about why doing sit-ups doesn't help you burn belly fat, why doing repetitive flexion exercises can actually hurt your lower back. So we informed people about why, and the positioning with our program is that it basically helps you, get the abdominals that you want without doing sit-ups. So we positioned it in the sense that we were informing people about the mistakes a lot of people are making and why that doesn't work. So when we came to sell the product, it was a lot easier to sell it to them. They were more responsive, and obviously conversions were a lot higher. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, so the teacher-student relationship. Teach people, and they will trust you and see you as the authority. When you were in school, whether it was high school or college, we probably, unless you, like me, you have a thing with authority, you probably saw your professor or teacher as somebody of, somebody respectable, somebody you wanted answers from, and they were the authority, the expert in that particular field. And the reason for that is obviously they've educated themselves, they might have, like Dan, PhDs and whatnot, but even if you don't have a PhD, you can position yourself as the expert simply by saying, I am the person who's going to provide you with this information. Listen to me. That's it. People need somebody to follow, and you don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to have a master's degree. You just have to be able to help people. Here's another thing, the visibility-trust relationship. We tend to trust people and companies that we continually see. This is why companies use brand advertising. If we continually see Mercedes, 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 well, eventually, we're going to know what that's all about, okay? We don't need to, we see them, we trust them because, okay, we figure we've seen it all around, they must be good, they must be big. Same thing here. If you see, my buddy Sean Croxton, you guys know Sean? He's awesome, okay? He's got one of the best YouTube channels ever, Underground Wellness. He's positioned himself as an expert because, first of all, his content's awesome. Secondly, you can't be on YouTube without seeing one of his videos, right? So people continually see him, they check one of his videos out, they're like, okay, this guy's actually pretty good. And so they see another video, he's got several hundred videos. He's positioned himself as being very visible. And that helps build this trust relationship with your potential prospects, and it positions him as the expert in the field that he's in.